All right. The 22nd of March 2022. Welcome to KUTV Rise Today. I'm always here when it's doubled. It's such as when it was the 2nd of February 2022. So we are here again for the 22nd of February of March 2022. I'm glad that you were able to join us here on KUTV. Again, this is KUTV Rise Today, a show that runs every single day from Monday to Friday, every single weekday, therefore, from 7 in the morning to around 10 in the morning. Ensure that you're engaging with us across all social media platforms at KUTV Kenya, at Richard_Okenya. That's where I'll be at, looking at the hashtag BIASHARA Tuesday to see what kind of engagements that you guys are sending my way. This is the business show where we're concerned about how you're making money, how the government is taking it from you, and are they using it well, or are they stealing it, or are you using your money well? So those are some of those things we're taking a look at in this economy, especially how it affects your future going into the future. Your future going into the future. Yeah, so the milk prices are up. I know this is a conversation we've already had. The cost of living has been rising steadily or actually sharply over the past few months based on various reasons. One of them being the drought that is currently facing a lot of Kenyans. And according to figures that I will be looking at that were in the Star earlier, I'll be having the Star here later. There is 2.5 million Kenyans who are going to face starvation, and as this is the effect of drought and famine that is hitting several counties across the country, and this has been happening since last year. So we're going to look at that grim picture, even as various parts of the nation are facing that high cost of living. However, there's also some good news, and I'm seeing here in the papers as well. We're going to highlight that what is happening in the economy is not only bad, but there's also some good news that is coming in. The Treasury is preparing to slash M-Pesa charges. Finally, we're getting to M-Pesa, those costly charges that are there when you're sending or withdrawing money through your M-Pesa. It looks like the Treasury is working on a proposal to cut down those M-Pesa transaction charges in a move that is likely to hurt Safaricom's revenues. So if you're investing in Safaricom's stock, what exactly is going to happen to it in the coming few days, and what are we going to look at if these proposals are going, or this amendment to curb excessive rates of Safaricom's M-Pesa transaction charges is going to happen? And this has been happening, of course, across all the major financial players. I know 2 weeks ago I stood here and said Cooperative Bank had slashed their price, their cost in terms of transactions from M-Pesa to the bank, and we were hoping, as I had mentioned earlier, that we were hoping that we finally come through to M-Pesa. So maybe this might happen. We're going to look at that. And betting firms are going up. I'm sure if you walk around, you've seen one in every 3 people is wearing a betting shirt, or 1 in every 3 adverts that you look at online is a betting advert. So betting firms are on the rise, and the country is trying, or the government is trying to curb this, or trying to clamp down on the gambling that has been sharply going high, especially during this time when livelihoods have been affected, the cost of living is high, and unemployment is rampant. How are we going to curb the issue of betting? So that is there on the Business Daily, something that I'm really interested in looking at. On this show, we as well look at business stories, economics, and also technology, but also we also sit down with experts, and I'm going to have a conversation here by guys who won the Halt Prize Challenge of 2022. And this is a challenge that is organized every single year that attracts students from all over the world to participate in a competition that is geared towards a specific theme. And this year their theme was getting the world back to work, and that is of course informed by the fact that during the COVID-19 pandemic, economies were hurt and livelihoods of course as well. So people were losing jobs and trying to find alternative means of raising income. How can young people create jobs, create startups, create businesses that are going to help the world get back to work? And that is creating as many jobs as possible by 2024. That was the theme there, and the Halt Prize chapter for Kenyatta University was holding their finals, where Shop Okoa is the startup that emerged the winner in a couple of other startups that were around 15. I was the moderator at this particular event, which attracted very bright young students to showcase their talent and, of course, to showcase their innovation. We'll be sitting down with some of them. That is Kelvin, Willie Mulama, Aaron, and Aaron Cliff Ambuya, who are, of course, the ones who are founders of this shop or co-op in 2021, and they were just third-year students of Kenyatta University. They'll be here to inform me exactly what are the plans going forward now that they've won this challenge, and what are we looking forward to from the Halt Prize chapter of Kenyatta University. I'll also be here with Hannah Kanuna, who is the founder and director of My Mhesh 2022 app. If you go to the Play Store right about now and search for My Mhesh, in short for My Mheshimiwa 2022 app, the application is there, and it gives you information ranging from political parties to aspirants in this year's elections, to what you're expecting from the election, to a countdown at the bottom of the website that shows you how many days or how many hours are remaining towards the next general elections, which are going to be held on August of this year. 8th of August 2022 is when Kenya is going to hold their general election. So Hannah Kanuna, who's the founder and director of My Mhesh 2022, will be here to tell me what kind of information you can get on My Mhesh 2022 app and what plans she has with this application that is giving you information on this year's elections. And is that going to be there all the way after the elections? And what else is there apart from, of course, political parties and politicians' information? Speaking of politics, Paul Wambo is back here again on the newspaper review. Ananisaidia hapa kuchambua magazeti leo asubuhi. Tuangalie what is there on the headlines and also in-depth analysis, because he is a political scientist, a graduate of the University of Nairobi. He will be putting matters into perspective, exactly what we're looking at in terms of politics, the economy, and everything that is there in between. So all of that is what we're preparing for you this morning here on BIASHARA Tuesday. It's a packed show. Make sure you're tuning in all the way to the end. If you have to move away, KUTV on Facebook is KUTV Kenya. That's why we're streaming live to the end, and also possibly on YouTube, on our YouTube channel at KUTV Kenya Live. That is where we shall also be streaming this show all the way to 10 in the morning. Engage with me across social media platforms, as I said, and also on the SMS/WhatsApp numbers are somewhere here on the screen. So at this point, I am going to go out and take a look at what is happening on your roads, courtesy of Ma3 route, and then I'll be back with that information. So do not go too far. Right, let's have a look at the roads. But before that, apparently Thika Road has not been fully paid for, and this is a story that is there on the Business Daily, page 5. And it looks like taxpayers are risking to incur another significant interest after the state failed to pay 428.6 million to the Chinese contractors who built Thika Road, a superhighway that has been there for 6 years now since the project was completed. It looks like serikali haikulipia pia Thika Road. So it's not only the SGR, Thika Road, Mombasa, the Nairobi Expressway, and I think the Nairobi to Mau highway. So those are costs that have not been fully paid for yet. And it looks like the Chinese contractors are here to look for that pending bill. More than 6 years after that contract lapsed. So that is a very interesting story that I'm going to be looking at here. And also the NTSA is proposing that you can retake your driving examinations 7 days after you fail them. Currently, the law requires that after a person fails a driving test, they are supposed to retake it after 21 days. Now, apparently, the National Transport and Safety Authority has backed proposals by the Automobile Association of Kenya to amend this retesting period to get to 7 days. So that is an interesting story that you'll be thinking about even as we take a look at the roads. The expressway is running trial runs, but a few things are still not clear. One, when will the real Mombasa Road be fixed up? After all the digging, especially around Imara and GM areas, how will the tolls be paid for? So that's a question that is being asked here on Twitter by one media MK. Also seeing here that the Mutindwa Makadara to town train is on the way. Well, that is useful information. Kondi James. Kura roads, I drove on this road at night. It's treacherous. No lights, road markings, rock border borders, pedestrians crossing willy-nilly. and poor road designs. Willy-nilly. Crossing willy-nilly. I've never heard of that one. Willy-nilly. And poor road designs. Never again. I almost died. Tribe 44 citizen. I'd love to know what that road is. I think it's Ngong Road. From what Daniel K is replying here, wanasema hakuna footbridges, footpaths or cycle paths. So Ngong Road inakaa ni kubaya sana. So the guys who are over cycling paths, not psychopaths, cycling paths, yeah. We seem to have forgotten about the rules of the roundabout. Give priority to the vehicles joining from the right. No waiting, no stopping, no parking at the roundabout. Kwani watu wako kwa barabara na hawajui road rules namna gani? I think the NTSA should not be considering this 7 days for drivers who are failing their test. If on the roads, the people who have the driving licenses ni kama hawajui kuendesha. Roundabouts, clogged up, blocked, drivers are stopping. It's just sickening. That is Michael 1834 saying there on Twitter. Kenya risks incurring penalties. That is 428 million. As I said, that is another reiteration that is coming there from Twitter. Anything else that is coming here? A terrible accident that happened yesterday night. The underpass junction ya kwenda Kangundo, Utawala na Ruiru. So anyone using the Eastern bypass na ile bypass ambayo inaelekea Ruiru, kindly tell us what the roads are looking like. There Githurai, naambiwa kumeshikana sana. There, if you are trying to get to town, don't use the service lane. Go through the highway. Any other roads that are of importance to us, make sure you're giving that to us on Twitter. Na tutakuwa tukisoma all through the show. Also, utuambie alternative routes that people should be using so that they escape that traffic and get to work as early and as fast as they can. At this point, let me go look at what has happened in your world in the past 24 hours, and that is especially yesterday night's bulletin. I know KCSE examination are currently ongoing. I don't know what is happening over there, so I'll be briefly taking a look at that and then coming back with the updates. This is still BIASHARA Tuesday on air, so don't go too far. I'm going to take a look at COVID-19 numbers first, but remember as well, there are other diseases within us, or especially respiratory diseases, like tuberculosis, which is quite a menace, and you are likely suffering from tuberculosis if you're experiencing a cough of any duration, chest pain, fever, chills, night sweats, and all the other symptoms that are here on the Ministry of Health's account on Twitter. So visit the nearest health facility for TB testing and treatment if you feel like you're having any of those coughing and sweating and chilly and all of those night sweats. Those are some of those symptoms you should be looking at. COVID-19. In the past 24 hours, it looks like we are having 8 cases, new cases, from a sample size of 2,727, and that's a positivity rate of 0.3%. Remember, all COVID-19 restrictions have been lifted. However, keep yourself safe. You don't be one of these 8 cases or any of the recorded deaths. But as of the 24 hours that have passed, we only have 0. We have 0 recorded deaths, which means we are doing quite good there, and 15 recoveries, as you can see on your screen. Get yourself vaccinated if you haven't yet. Vaccination efforts by the Ministry of Health and the government of Kenya, 27 million number of vaccinations that have been received here in the country, and those which have been administered are 10 million less of 27 million, so 17 million, and the proportion of adults fully vaccinated against COVID-19, 29.1%, while 15 to 18-year-olds who have also received their Pfizer vaccination are 1.1 million. Looks like teenagers are more or are quick to getting the vaccinations more than the adults, because 1.1 million, and these efforts began quite recently. So that is looking good there. Nairobi is still leading in cases, and only Nairobi, Mandera, Meru, and Mombasa have positive cases in the last 24 hours. So ensure that you're also still keeping safe, even as the government has lifted those restrictions. Let me take a look at the news updates for the last 24 hours, and then I'm coming back with that right about now. Okay, and again from Juja, that is where this morning brings us to a building that collapsed. Over 50 Jomo Kenyatta University of Agriculture and Technology, JKUAT, students have been affected after a 5-story building in Juja, Kiambu County, collapsed, leaving a trail of damages. The building that hosted the students allegedly started caving in on Sunday morning after a sewage system dug 2 weeks ago weakened its foundation.
2 weeks after a building under construction at Kinoo caved in, leaning on another occupied flat collapsed, another building at Juja in Kiambu County has collapsed, leaving a trail of damages to the property of more than 50 Jomo Kenyatta University of Agriculture and Technology students.
2 weeks ago kulikuwa walichimba the foundation hapo ground floor, wakiweka hiyo drainage system. So kutokea hapo, after hiyo drainage kuwekwa, kukakuwa na some cracks hapo kwa gate, alafu pia gate ikakata, a time you couldn't open, you couldn't close.
The 5-story building where over 50 JKU1 students were living allegedly started caving in on Sunday morning after sewerage system was dug 2 weeks ago, weakening its foundation. Apart from the threat to their lives, the students lost all their valuables, and according to one of the students, only a female student whose door was locked suffered minor injuries as she struggled to leave the house through the window.
Kutoka njana kitu saa 10 watu hawajatoka hapa, tumelala hapa, tumeshinda hapa, tumengoja ianguke, but ianguke.
Officers from the National Building Inspectorate, in collaboration with the county engineers, safely demolished the flat on Sunday evening. The government and the National Construction Authority.
We've noticed that there are some buildings need to get in and get every information about every structured building, because even the name of the building itself, we don't know the name, we don't know if it had approvals, and we are looking forward towards ensuring that through the governorship of Governor Nyoro, they make sure that the buildings that are around this place are validated.
At the same time, the students called on county and national leaders from the area to support the students materially to help.
All right, so that is what has happened over there in Juja. We're sending out, of course, our warm regards to all those students who are affected. It's quite funny that Jomo Kenyatta University of Agriculture and Technology is a school that has one of the established architecture schools, and that is happening around it. I don't know, it's quite ironical. However, let's move on to the Ministry of Finance, where the Finance Minister Ukur Yatani, or Finance Cabinet Secretary Ukur Yatani, will be tabling the financial 2022-2023 budget on the April 7th in Parliament, as opposed to June. This is due to the political calendar in the country caused by the elections, which are slated for the 9th of August. The ministry, through a statement, has said that Kenyans have until close of business today to forward their tax proposals on the 2022-2023 budget. So ensure you do send your proposals to the Ministry of Finance, especially now that we are experiencing rising in cost of living and we're also facing drought and all of those things. Make sure that your tax is being used well in the coming year. Businessman Jimmy Wanjigi was yesterday endorsed to contest for the presidential seat on Safina party ticket in the August elections. In a delegates meeting which was held at the Bomas of Kenya auditorium, Wanjigi has promised to bring economic revolution in the country by challenging the status quo in leadership and building strong institutions to address the myriad of challenges which are facing the nation.
Today, the Bomas of Kenya was filled with an aura of entertainment activities ahead of Safina Party delegates meeting to choose their party's presidential flag bearer. At about 3:30 East African time, businessman Jimmy Wanjigi made his way into the venue, accompanied by Deputy President William Ruto, who is the UDA party leader.
Munasema tuomoke pamoja.
And the long wait was over. Businessman Jimmy Wanjigi was unanimously endorsed as Safina Party presidential flag bearer.
Our concerns must be with the future generations. The world is changing. What platform are we giving them? The old order must die. It must be wiped out. We must end transactional politics. Itweka.
Accepting the endorsement, Jimmy declared it is time for a new leadership in the country, saying the old crop of leaders who are now regrouping to form the next government had run the country into economic turmoil.
In figures, 5.4 million people do not have jobs. This is quoting a national socio-economic disaster. Kenyans talk about corruption. It is not corruption. This is called state capture.
Wanjigi promising to bring about a total economic revolution in the country by building strong institutions to address corruption, agriculture, education, and industrial development.
Our competitors believe this is a constitutional moment. We believe, together with Safina, that this is an economic moment in the history of our country.
Jimmy taking a swipe at President Uhuru Kenyatta and Azimio la Umoja leader Raila Odinga, accusing them of overseeing systematic failures that have plunged the country in hardships. Deputy President William Ruto, who led other Kenya Kwanza leaders in gracing the occasion, said the country was ripe for a new leadership that will bring about total economic transformation. Henry Tende, KUTV.
That's quite interesting that Jimmy Wanjigi is saying that the government or whoever else is contending for the presidential ticket this year or for the presidential seat this year is a system, especially that he was also a member of the ODM party, which is led by Honorable Raila Odinga. And it's quite ironical to see two presidential candidates in one event where the other is also being endorsed to be a presidential flag bearer. I don't know how the politics are looking like this year. Quite interesting times we have here. Still, on securing the elections, there is a key indication that Kenya's economy is expected to stabilize after 6%. At 6% in 2022. The revelations came during a meeting held between the National Development Implementation Coordination and Communication Committee. Quite a mouthful. And that happened yesterday with the development partners on the government's priority programs.
In a consultative forum held today, led by the Interior Cabinet Secretary Dr. Fred Matiang'i, the country should be expecting to stabilize at 6% after the shock of COVID-19 pandemic, with support from the donor partners and remittances from the diaspora. The forum was between National Development Implementation Coordination and Communication Committee and the development partners on the government priority programs.
Our President's focus on ensuring that Kenya remains at the forefront of economic and global development activity, not just in this region, but across the continent, and that is bearing fruit. And our meeting is held in the context of fostering those relations and ensuring that we work very closely with our development partners.
Noting the myriad of challenges the country was facing, French Ambassador to Kenya, Alain Cousta, representing the donor community, emphasized on the need of bettering the bilateral ties in solving some of these problems.
And in this time, we have a key need to listen to each other. It's what partnership is about. Is what we want to, how we want to build our relationship with Kenya, all of us, and also to better to understand to your needs and continue to be your key partner.
Keith Hansen, the World Bank Country Director for Kenya, representing the development partner community, lauded the government efforts in dealing in the challenges that hit the country and pledged their support for economic rebound.
We remain collectively committed to supporting the people of Kenya, working through its government and its representatives, both at the national and the county level, to help Kenya to move forward and continue not just to recover from the epidemic, but to regain a robust program of growth and prosperity going forward.
The meeting explored areas of government development partners' cooperation and resolved to continuously strengthen accountability mechanisms to ensure resources are optimized for the intended objectives.
All right, so that is what is happening. It looks like we are, it's not all gloom. It looks like we might be stabilizing the economy into the future. Hopefully, we see those results reflect in the cost of living and the prices of products. Members of the public have been cautioned to take care not to fall victims of cartels, as police recruitment exercise will be free and fair. The service is now expecting to recruit 5,000 officers in the upcoming police recruitment exercise that will be carried out on March the 24th.
During a pre-recruitment training at Technology Primary School in Murang'a, National Police Service Commissioner Naftali Rono has warned the members of the public not to fall victims of cartel as they head toward the upcoming police recruitment exercise, which will be carried on the 24th of March. The police recruitment exercise is expected to be free and fair.
So we are discouraging youth from giving out any money. In any case, they do not have it because they are looking for jobs. So we do not want a situation where they are exploited unnecessarily by cartels that cheat them out of this exercise.
National Police Service recruitment is free and it stands for equal opportunities to everyone. And they have clearly categorized in their advertisement, anyone found bribing or conning a member of public will be dealt with in accordance to the law. The Commission will be present during the exercise to monitor the process.
Anyone found canvassing or bribing to join the National Police Service will be dealt with in accordance with the law. As you are aware, the one who gives is as guilty as the one who receives.
The exercise is scheduled to take place on 24th of March as the service aims at recruiting at least 5,000 recruits in the National Service Commission. Christine Brenda, KUTV.
Right. All right. So that is what we are being cautioned against. Remember not to pay 350,000 in the hopes that your son or your brother will be recruited to that exercise because it looks like it's a free and fair process. Do you think so? Give me your feedback on social media. I'll be reading that. Do you think the police recruitment exercise is free and fair? Anyway, various law schools in the country have come together to commemorate the opening of the 2022 All-Kenyan Moot Court competition hosted annually at the Kenyatta University Law School. It is the 10th edition of the program, with the theme being electoral justice and democracy, ensuring electoral credibility and the adherence of the rule of law.
Another opportunity to leave this.
The All-Kenyan Moot Court Competition 2022 has set off yet again at the Kenyatta University School of Law, marking the 10th anniversary of this program that began in 2012. It has since been held annually this year, coming back stronger after being affected by COVID-19 in 2020 and 2021.
This edition also marks the 10th anniversary of the All Kenya Moot competition and the first time since 2019.
I am happy to share in the vision of the founders of AKMCC and the previous organizers, where for the last 9 years, we have ensured that the competition runs despite challenges such as the COVID-19 pandemic that forced us to move virtually for the last 2 editions.
The Moot Court, which can be termed a mock court, consists of proceedings that mirror real-life court proceedings with the purpose of helping law students understand how real courts work and proper code of conduct. Mooting is a great way to develop budding advocates' confidence, speaking, writing skills, and research acumen. The theme this year being electoral justice and democracy in ensuring electoral credibility and adherence to the rule of law is topical, as it is indeed an election year. And as various stakeholders trust the need for peaceful planning and execution of elections, the competition is keen on providing a platform to engage the various actors in the electoral field in Kenya.
Nowadays, we talk much more about elections with high levels of transparency and credibility. Why is transparency important? It's so everyone knows what actually happens, so everyone understands how the preparatory process is going, what may be some of the challenges, and where are some of the things where we need to be careful.
I'm happy to know that the theme resonates with Kenya's history in the electoral field and the present circumstances ahead of this year's general election.
Former Attorney General of the Republic of Kenya, Professor Githu Muigai, who has been at the forefront in commemorating this year's edition, also pointed out the importance of moot courts in the country.
I think what we are doing here today, what we've been doing here the last couple of years, is a very, very important way of shaping how future lawyers will function.
Over time, the competition has grown to become the biggest human rights moot court competition in Kenya, drawing participation from across all law schools and universities, also attracting attention from legal practitioners, the judiciary, government, private actors, and individuals. Arno Dida, KUTV.
All right, that brings us to the end of the updates this morning in terms of news coming from your world, abroad and locally as well. And also following that up is the dailies. I'm having here the Daily Nation, Ruto's sticky mess. That's what the Daily Nation has for me here. And they're saying that for the Deputy President, when it rains, it pours. And only days after bagging the Kenya Kwanza presidential ticket, he now must select a running mate from an increasingly thinning stable, and looks like he has to craft deals with other ambitious political parties and shaking off a new court case arguing for his resignation, while all this is doing as he's warding off criticism against integrity credentials. And this is something we're going to be looking at with here, as well as the Standard, our pledge to Kenyans. And it looks like they have a breakdown here of what their presidencies will look like. That is either William Samoei Ruto or Raila Odinga. And they're having here a closer look at Raila and Ruto's speeches when they were cleared to vie for presidency. What does that inform the nation in the coming August general elections? That and much more in the Standard, the Daily Nation. I have the Star, the Business Daily. I also have here with me Paul Wambua, who has been with me before. He'll be joining me to give a breakdown into much more stories that are here. Also the Financial Standard and the Smart Business, which are the pull-out sections of the Daily Nation and the Standard. So don't go too far. Grab yourself a copy of either of this online or physical, and then we'll be back to compare notes and share across social media platforms. We are at KUTV Kenya, so don't go too far. right, we are back again. This is Bishara Tuesday. Remember on social media, hashtag Bishara Tuesday. On Twitter, at Richard_Kenye. Alafu Paul underscore Wambua.
Yes, Paul underscore Wambua 1.
Paul underscore Wambua 1. Akona mimi hapa. Welcome back, mzee.
Thank you very much.
How's it been?
It's been nice, tough, but we are alive.
Yeah?
Yeah.
The tough get going.
Yes.
Yeah, we need to. So, a lot is happening here. Najua tuwezi pitia kila kitu.
Yes.
And I know since you're a football enthusiast.
Yes.
Tutaangalia pia mambo ya football pale.
We will.
Barcelona wamerudi kama hawajarudi.
Javi ball.
Pale weekend ni ilifanyika.
Yeah.
Chelsea masaibu yanawapata. Mambo kama hayo tutaangalia.
Yes.
But first of all, you were telling me, let's start from the Daily Nation.
Yes.
With this special report. Graft drives high death toll on Kenyan roads.
Yes.
Should we blame graft on the number of accidents we're having around, or should we blame the authorities or the drivers?
You realize, I feel like much of the problems we have as a society come from our social establishments, so that you find that corruption, if you look at, yes, of course it has political cost, economic costs and everything, but first it begins with us as individuals, and it expands to other spheres of life, so that you have, for example, this documentary by BBC Africa, and you look at it and you wonder, where are we headed as a society? We have all these fanciful organizations which we suggest that are supposed to help us, but what do they do? Nothing. NTSA is doing the bare minimum to ensure road safety and anything, because if you watch the documentary, you'll realize that you only need a few thousands, and then you go to around Thika, and TSA will approve your car, despite it having very functional and technical. And
they're saying that's the same case for licenses.
Yes.
They're issuing, driving schools are giving licenses to people without taking classes or sitting tests.
Yes, for them it's the money. I don't need to come to your school for 3 weeks when I can give you, Petans and the other one, Rocky, they are issuing licenses for 15,000 shillings. Only 15,000 shillings. You don't do the exam. The examiner passes you for 3,500.
And this is killing Kenyans.
It is killing Kenyans. It is actually killing us more than COVID has even tried to kill us.
Right.
And it's so sad, because you realize this is public transport safety we are talking about. We need to ensure that by the time I'm getting out of my house in the morning, I have certain guarantees that the possibility of me returning back home is guaranteed in a way. But when you have all this corruption from the police at the checkpoints, and this feeds to something I was reading yesterday from my lecturer, Dr. Gideon Onyango. He published an article on how we've sort of normalized road corruption, and reading whatever he wrote in that journal article and reading this and watching the documentary, I honestly feel depressed for us as Kenyans in terms of road safety. We need to do something serious, and these authorities, you are not meant to stay somewhere along Upper Hill and enjoy all these monies. At what cost? Do you
at the cost of Kenyans, because here 154 is the number of passengers who've died between January 1st and March 20th. That is
this year
2 days ago.
This year alone, not even terrorism has cost us such amount of people, and it compares to 163 that happened that a year ago. And then you want us to believe that we'll never be safe, and then you harass borders because of these things. When in real sense, you should not be reactionary. We need to ensure that now that we have all these as authorities, and they should be functioning and working to our good.
So people should be taking out for this BBC report, BBC investigative report that has gotten quite the attention. It looks like all vehicles are really supposed to pass an annual NTSA safety check to be declared fit to be on the road. However, some systems are so corrupt that you only need a few coins. That's what they're saying. A few coins, a completely written off vehicle can be given a new lease from death to life.
Yeah, I mean,
so you're getting broken vehicles moving all over the highways.
You wonder. And the trick is so simple. Do some cosmetic upgrades and paint the car, and it's approved.
And it becomes a road. It's interesting that there on the business deal which you have there, I think, let's just grab that real quick. NTSA is also proposing or backing up a proposal to allow failing driver students to retest after 7 days. Is 7 days enough for a student who's failed a driving test to come back and redo it?
I mean, it depends with whatever, if they'll do a commercial vehicle or it's just for their private car. But either way, they are going to be using the same roads. Is that enough? If you ask me, no. Why again are they suggesting this proposal? Another avenue for them to swindle us Kenyans of few coins each time, and then because if you realize they are the determinants of who is a failed driver. What is the result of this? You will go to them, and then what do you do? Just like they are doing here. Give them 10,000 shillings and they qualify.
Get your license,
yes,
and become part of the 90% of accidents which are due to human error.
All which could be avoided. And this stems, that does not even deal with the drivers alone. And TSA should work in tandem with the likes of Kura, the likes of Kera, to ensure that really our roads are safe. I mean, the documentary has this lady, Madete, who is advocating for proper road designs. I mean, you look at complaints that we've been raising to do with Ngong Road, and you people are unbothered. We have a director general. Do you guys even watch news, or are you even interested in these things?
Unbothered. Unbothered is what you're saying.
Exactly. They are so unbothered. For them, they smile to the bank with all these thousands of shillings and all these per diems and everything, and it's all well.
Interesting that you've mentioned about per diems, money, and people just being concerned about what kind of financial benefit they can get from these projects. Let's stick on the roads and actually finish up with some of those infrastructure projects which we've been speaking about. Thika Road haijakuwa imelipiwa, kumbe tunatembea na highway ya madeni.
Watu wanatucheza, my people. Watu wanatucheza.
On page 5 of the Business Daily, they're saying the state is facing fines over a pending 428.6 million in terms of the debt that we still haven't paid for the construction of Thika Road.
And you wonder, is it that it's the continuity of government we lack, or what really happens? Because you understand, we celebrate Mwai Kibaki so much for all his achievements. But now if you have a Jubilee government or a TNA administration, a URP administration that comes in between, and now we come to a point of accruing fines when we are still having these loans which we have not paid for to the tunes of 9 trillions, and you want to circumnavigate your way around the debt ceiling.
That's
Seriously,
crazy.
Government.
That's crazy.
So disappointing.
That's crazy. They're always disappointing you. That's something I've noticed.
And you wonder, why are we not outraged? Have we become numb to all these theatrics that they are treating us to?
Right.
Kenyans, we need to do something about this, and perhaps
things might get better.
Yeah, the August elections might be a chance for us to do that.
Elections.
Yes.
The Daily Nation, Ruto's sticky mess is what they're calling it, and they're saying that the deputy president is facing the rain. It is pouring on his camp currently, and as I saw over the past 1 week, a couple of, I think 15 plus delegates of Kirinyaga who are allied to the UDA party switched, all of them party, and he's facing a lot of criticism and integrity questions that is hanging around him. Remember, there's also a case that is currently ongoing in the ICC, which he is tied to.
Yes.
He's being asked to resign now that he's switched sides and being in power through the Jubilee Party, but also looking for running for president in another coalition. And also, of course, trying to select a running mate, which has been quite a conversation on either camp, that is the DP's camp and also Raila Odinga's camp. Is he in a sticky mess?
I think he's in more trouble that these people perceive for him to be, because you realize, one, to choose a deputy is really something that he should work on very much, knowing that he's been a very troublesome deputy president. And with the presidency as it is, these people are intertwined. So will he go for experience, or will he just go for political convenience? It's questions which he has to weigh in on very well. And you look at some people who are being suggested to be running mates. Mr. Ndindi Nyoro,
Ms. Anne Waiguru, Mr. Musalia Mudavadi, and Justin Muturi are the top 4 there I'm seeing.
Yeah, you wonder. And then you have the likes of Mr. Gachagua. I mean, with all due respect.
Rigathi Gachagua.
Yes. you are even claiming amongst yourselves that these people don't even have the suggested papers for you to even accord them such a vacancy. And you as Ruto, you, as you've rightly pointed out, is as all these integrity questions. If you were to
abdicating his post as a deputy president, also one of those things.
And he's not going to resign. This guy has just some streak of I don't even know how to.
So, in your honest opinion, in your personal Wambua opinion,
yes,
should he resign at this point and just concentrate on the?
It is the honorable thing to do, but he doesn't answer to a higher calling like some of us.
Right.
So for him, it's convenience, trickery, and all this.
All right.
He has to circumnavigate this in one way or the other, and that is what he's basically been doing. And now challenges like this really test his political maturity as it is.
All right.
And now we can only wait and see. But I mean, I have to point out that as the Standard is pointing out their pledges to Kenyans, you get the impression that with all these their promises, I mean, yesterday he was saying that his opponents believe that it is constitutional moment for him, it is economic moment. I mean, it's all well and good, but how are you fashioning this? How does this feed into our economic superstructures and our...
He's saying the bottom up.
The bottom up, seriously. We are very neoliberal, and you want to... That would even be a shocker to the economy as it is. So will it work? We would wait and see what he'll do. But now... Clearly, it won't work because he is a man obsessed with numbers. In every rally, you will hear him say that we will do this with 100 billion. We will do this with 100 billion. And if you sit down, and I would like our media organizations to fact check this guy.
Right.
The money is mentioned. They supersede even our budget as it is, and we are not even yet into the peak of the campaign season. So what happens to us?
At the bottom of the Daily Nation as well, still, outliers who have refused to ride the popularity wave. A story that is continued on page 12 and 13. They're mentioning a couple of leaders or seasoned politicians who are not bowing to either the UDA side, which is the Kenya Kwanza, or the Azimio side. They are defiant in the face of popular parties, and they dare to battle on. Some of those who are mentioned here include Amos Kimunya and Professor Sam Ungeri. I really doubt that one. This is a story by Onyango Konyango, K. Onyango.
Yes.
This is the Daily Nation. They are also mentioning here a couple of others who are people of interest. Kiraitu Murungi, James Nyoro. However, I know some of them are allied to either side.
I mean, technically, yes, you could attribute that to that, but then again, you realize with all these campaign issues, we have a lot of misinformation going about, and we are labeling people by the mere fact that we don't think they are allied to us. But again, for me, there is a more substantive issue that we have to look at, and this is just the functioning of our political parties, because you look at these people, some of them have just decided, the likes of Kimunya, Wambugu and Kioni, they have decided we use Jubilee as a party to get into power. It is only politically right and correct to stand by our parties despite all that is happening. So you look at it from that point, and then you can understand what is happening. But again, populist political parties are taking root all over the place.
Right.
And you could want to term them as some beacons of democracy as it is right now here in Kenya. But again, we understand our political system. We know how these things work.
Right.
We know what is happening right now.
People are trying to hide their cards as well.
Yes. You may be trying to do that, trying to be politically clever, but vitu kwa ground.
Train inaweza kukupita pia.
Yes.
They are also doing an analysis. Remember, there will be a conversation on political parties and the issue of politics coming up, following up to the elections this year, August 8th. So remember to tune in Thursday morning here on KUTV Rise Today. That conversation on political parties itaendelezwa pale asubuhi na mzee Ojong Mariam kwa makala ya TBT. So ensure you're tuning in for that conversation. Here on the Standards page 5, wanna break down into Ruto and Raila's campaign pledges. And this is where I want us to wrap up a bit on those political stories, the important political stories we have here this morning.
Yes.
And I know we've just spoken about Ruto's side and some of those pledges that he's giving out. On Raila's side, he's saying that he will have Uhuru as his advisor, among other many things, including fighting decisively against corruption, raising financial allocation to counties from the current 15% to at least 35% of the national budget.
Yes.
I can't quite remember what the BBI was proposing.
It's still the same thing.
It's still the same thing?
His pledges, some of them really have borrowed from his BBI suggestions, which in and of themselves, we can only wait and judge.
Universal healthcare, as he calls it, Babacare.
Yeah. I mean, essentially, what Raila is doing is positioning or priming his candidature along the works of social democracy. He's a social democrat. And you
of course, has always made sure that is clear to everyone.
Yes, yes. And I feel like we need to understand these things more than basing our understanding of them according to the information that is provided by other people. Because if we do not... I mean, we people who have a platform, we people who are in the media and everything, if we do not get our people to understand what really these pledges mean or how these people endeavor to achieve them by way of when they'll either sign or give to us their manifestos, until then, we have to substantively question and interrogate these people. I mean, I'm disappointed by these people when they show up to certain radio and TV stations
and repeat the same rhetorics.
Yeah,
and the media echoes it.
Don't just ask anything. It's like they are there to just amplify these voices without even like critiquing what these people are saying.
Subjectively so.
Yeah, yeah.
Right.
You people, you need to be as objective as possible, and that is the only way that you will uncover what these people are trying to say and what these things mean to us as a country. And the media now will have played its role in safeguarding democracy as it is in Kenya.
Right, so not only just saying Kenyans do not understand what the politicians are saying,
make us understand,
but also make sure that Kenyans are understanding, not just amplifying the rhetorics that they keep peddling from one media house to the other.
Yes, please.
So that's a very good call from Wambua there to us who are in the media fraternity. So that story, you can look at it on page 5, hapo mahali wame break down mambo ya Ruto na Raila.
Yes.
Anything else there you're saying on the Daily Nation?
Yeah, I'm actually disturbed by this. It's so sad that it is happening because there is a story by Eric Matara that a South Sudanese man died in an arson attack by border borders, and this happened in Nakuru. And for me, we are slowly and surely...
This is totally unacceptable.
Yeah, actually we should condemn it in the strongest term possible, because not only does it become diplomatic issues, because you saw yesterday that Matiang'i was forced to brief. He had a diplomatic briefing, and then at the backdrop of it, you have a South Sudanese official who goes to visit Mawaga Estate, where we have this. And
this comes barely a week
after the Forest Road
incident.
Yeah. It's xenophobia left, right, and center.
And this is happening to foreign nationals.
Yes, and you may look at it as far-fetched, but the other day there was a very reckless statement by the deputy president, and it had something that was targeted at DRC. And
that brought us into a diplomatic row for quite some time.
Yes, and now Matiang'i, the Forest Road issue, he was forced, his own admission, he was forced to explain that thing more than is done on any other policy issue. And then we have people who are taking things to their own hands. Guys, xenophobia is not going to help us. It is not the way to
completely unacceptable.
Yeah, we cannot be this nationalistic. We need to embrace other people and other nations and be Pan-Africans at least, and Ubuntu. Guys, we need to wake up from this, and it should not be used for political expedience. You cannot gain political capital by such things. Clearly, they are bad for your international image standing, and they are even bad to you as a person, because how do you sleep at night knowing that you are fathering things like this? So we need to wake up on that.
All right, so while still on matters of insecurity, it looks like rogue police officers are the ones who are leasing guns to bandits who have been terrorizing certain parts of the country. And this is according to a state security agency, which is here reporting on the Daily Nation on page 9. So rogue police officers are leasing weapons to bandits who are terrorizing residents in parts of the country. I do not know why. I am not shocked. However, I did not expect it.
Yeah. I mean, we take you to Kiganjo to do something substantive to you and to ensure that our security is guaranteed. But now when state agents are turning to be rogue, it becomes a real problem. And then you may want to tie this to upcoming elections and how, I mean, insecurity is used to play political football. You will have MPs running left, right, and center, shouting that, I saw some reporting that send military to Kerio Valley, Rift MPs demand.
That's
and
on
at
the
the same time, it is the same place you have the nation reporting that police are leasing guns. These are instruments that you will, at some point, you will have the population against the state. Then what happens? You have people like Sabaot land forces, and what happens on a whole? Insecurity, you displace people, and you destabilize the economy of the region. And what happens? People are dying because, again, you saw that there's drought all over the place.
And Matiang'i is saying 2.5 million Kenyans are going to be affected.
Yeah, and it is going to move to 3.6 billion people. And at what expense? Taxpayers and perhaps another scheme to corrupt people, because you realize Matiang'i is saying that money is going to be needed, and there are all these cash transfers, and we all know the script, how it ends up. People have been so greedy, materialistic, and you still, even from those of us who need it the most.
Right.
I mean, I'm dying in Turkana. What business do you have getting even a shilling from the coffers that is supposed to help me benefit?
Right.
I mean, and it's just the distance decay we have with some bits of our country.
So that's what is happening on matters of security. They're also saying that the exercise, which is supposed to begin on the March 24th, that is the recruitment exercise, is going to be free and fair election. I don't know what kind of experience you've had, or closest experience you've had with the police recruitment exercise in the country.
It is bad. And I tell you this from a point of knowledge, because one of my very close friends, they have been trying ever to get into this thing. And
they don't have enough teeth?
Yeah. Some weird reasons. Kenya, we need to move from that. And then the corruption that is marred by that thing. It is tons of it. And some of us have turned it into a career and a profession that all you aspire to be is in the military. There is no problem with that. Of course, we have to defend our borders from external aggression, from internal risks. But the manner in which we conduct it has to be in quote-unquote an objective way, so that at the end of it all we can achieve our security concerns.
Isn't it hilarious that for you to, in other countries, for you to serve in the military, to serve in the police, you volunteer. You say, I love this nation so much, I want to go and fight for it. But isn't it funny that in Kenya, reports show that you have to bribe your way to serve the nation. You have to bribe your way to put yourself in the line of danger, in the line of duty.
It is how much we celebrate corruption, and when it infiltrates the security, yes. If we infiltrate the security apparatus of this country and we do this, we don't stand a chance, because someone will be motivated. I mean, you told me to give my personal experience.
Right.
I've had people who have joined this thing for the simple fascination that I'll go to Somalia and I'll make money. I will make money from Amazon, I'll make money from all these things. And I'll be a rich guy and I'll come maybe parade a few girls here and there and enjoy life. But seriously, we have more.
It is funny, but it's not funny in that sense. It's funny that we are in that situation.
Funny, yes.
Right?
It is to be funny at some point.
Right.
Yeah, our security apparatus, Mr. Matiang'i, you've done some commendable things, but it's okay. That is part of what you should have done. Now you need to go the extra mile.
Extra mile to ensure that it's completely free.
Yes.
Before we go to sports, which I think is what we should wrap up with, there was some good news. Na feeling kama tumecomplain sana.
Sindio?
Yeah. M-Pesa wamekujiwa. That's something that I'm happy about. The Treasury is working on a proposal to cut M-Pesa transaction charges. Maybe wewe hazikuaffect as much. Wewe ni mkuu.
No. But
wewe uangalie transaction cost.
Sijafika point ya kuwa aristocrat.
if you calculate the percentages at which they charge, that is 27 bob for like 100 bob, 110 bob, and you pay 27. That's so much money. So the Treasury is giving here the sending and withdrawal charges, which are going to be reviewed. And this is likely to affect Safaricom because M-Pesa is its biggest earner as of this moment. Yeah. And it accounts for 99% of the mobile transactions in the country. What do you feel about this? Is it good news?
It is very good news, and we should be smiling. For the first time, the Treasury is worrying about us Kenyans.